The following is rated TV MALSV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Timmy, go to bed, now!
There's a Chicago Bears podcast.
So, Chicago says they have it. They do.
Unlike most others, a bunch of guys on the broadcast acting much like brothers. This is bare their souls, uncensored with no control.
Third and 8, blitz coming. It's picked up. Williams has a man wide open. He's got it. Touchdown to Doomsday.
This is bare their souls, with some likable a-holes. This is bare their souls, bare their souls. Let me hear you guys. Let's go.
Jacob Bovenmeyer, the snapper. A.J. Cole, the holder. The kick is blocked. Unbelievable.
Promise me that your very tough coach does give you flowers. Are you getting flowers today, you think?
I threw a pick to their best player, so probably not. But I think we'll go in the locker room. We'll celebrate just how we celebrated last week, because these are hard to come by. As you just saw, it's a hard game, tough opponent, and we're gonna go celebrate. We're gonna go fix everything we need to fix. We're gonna go in the bye week, come out of it strong and healthy.
This is bare their souls, uncensored with no control. This is bare their souls, with some likable a-holes.
What's up, everybody? I was a little late. There. What's going on, Danikin and Tooch? What's going on, brothers?
What's happening? How y'all doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. I am so excited to talk football today. We're going to be without Zim, so that makes me even more excited. Not just kidding. But today, to me, marks the beginning of the Bears' week. The preparation and stuff. I know, it really started earlier, but to me it just feels that way. And this game against Washington is one of the most important regular season games they've had in recent years. Tooch, I know you're probably going to cover this in your Bears State of Affairs. How are you, brother?
Doing good. Got my computer glasses now. Gonna
look at you,
strain off the eyes.
Nice.
I've had a bad year for eyes, Aldo.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, when you were in the porno business, was there like a lot of jizz going in your eyes?
Yeah, permanent damage.
That's
too much.
That's not
too much
good.
protein,
Exactly. I've heard some bad shit about that.
We'll miss Tooch in the porno biz, especially those giant loads of jizz.
Did you make out what they were saying?
No, not much. A little bit.
It says, I miss Tooch in the porno biz, especially those big loads of jizz. So, anyway, I can't think of anything funny to say unless it's got something crude in it. That's the way my brain works. Anyways, do you guys agree with me? Danikin, do you agree with me that this game is a regular season game that is probably as important as any regular season they've had recently?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's important for a lot of different reasons, right? Mm-hmm. We know what happened last year. That's number one. You got quarterbacks, Jaden versus Caleb, of course, right? Number 1 and number 2 draft picks, right? You also have both fan bases that are, starving for success, right? Mm-hmm. Washington had a little bit more than us recently, but they're still starving for success as well. And then you also have, it's a Monday night game. So, anytime it's prime time, the world is watching. All football fans are watching Monday Night Football, and we're got the spotlight on this. So, yeah, definitely an important game. You don't want to go out there and kind of choke this game away.
Good points. And I read something that gives me a little hope, although, past success is not a true indicator of what's going on now. But the Bears are 4-0 on Monday nights after a bye week. So that's a pretty optimistic stat. Now, of course, there's a whole new coaching staff and a whole new team since the last win and previous wins. But, the whole narrative that when they play on Monday night, they get their asses kicked isn't exactly true. Tooch, what's your Bears State of Affairs about?
Everything you just said. These two teams, they got history.
Well, let's get to it, and then we'll talk about your thoughts, right?
So Danikin, he almost gave it away. It's like everything he said is like, oh, those are all the narratives, the stories.
Man, we be on point, Tooch, don't we?
Yeah, we always on the same wavelength.
He's got a camera on your new eye lenses, and so he's able to see all your notes.
You got the contact in, right? So I can see everything.
Exactly. All right, let's get started with Bears State of Affairs.
It's time for John's Bears State of Affairs. He got nothing but truth bombs about the Bears. He tells it like it is and always has, with no agenda, just a little pizza. Sit back, light it up, and crack open a beer. It's time for John's Bears State of Affairs. State of Affairs. It's time for John's Bears State of Affairs. State of Affairs. It's time for John's Bears State of Affairs. State of Affairs. It's time for John's Bears State of Affairs.
All right, yeah, woohoo, yeah, Bears State of Affairs, 2025 season, week 6. What's happening, Barflies? I don't know why I'm so excited. The Bears are still on their bye. Yeah. Yeah, Bears fans will have to sit through another Sunday with no Bears football because the Bears don't play until Monday nights.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this might be the longest bye week in Bears history.
What?
Yeah, but the bye week came at a good time this year. Yeah, as early as it was, because the Bears look to be getting back several key players from injury, including defensive back Kyler Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can only help, man. Monday will mark the season debut for the newly minted Gordon, who signed a 3-year, $40 million contract extension back in April. With all the injuries in the defensive backfield, yeah, Bears could really use him. Yeah, as well, Austin Booker and TJ Edwards, they're due to return as well. Yeah! Bears are hoping for some help with their pass rush and run defense, both ranked near the bottom of the league statistically. Getting these players back on defense would be a welcome boost against Jalen Daniels and the Commanders on Monday Night Football. Yeah, and like I said, these two teams have history. There's no shortage of narratives and storylines. Yeah, and going into this game, last time the Bears were in D.C., they were 4-2. Well, things didn't go as planned, Aldo.
No, they didn't. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and the Bears had the Commanders on the ropes, up 15-2 in the final minute of the game. Yeah, every Bears fan knows what happens next. Yeah, the now infamous Fail Mary play that for the most part was the beginning of the end for the 2024 Bears. Yeah, in fact, after that game, the fortunes of both these teams went in opposite directions. The Commanders went on to the NFC Championship, and the Bears, they fired their head coach for the first time ever during the course of a season, and then went on a 10-game losing streak. Yeah, the media fallout after the Fail Mary game was brutal. And Bears fans were upset with one player in particular, second-year cornerback Tyreek Stevenson. Yeah, not only was he taunting Commanders fans, but the receiver he was supposed to cover caught the ball that Stevenson tipped for the winning score. Oof.
Yes, that hurt.
That was an ouch.
Oh, sorry.
It was definitely a learning moment for Tyreek Stevenson. And now that the Bears, are facing the Commanders again and returning to the scene of the Fail Mary, Stevenson said he refuses to let his mistakes on the Hail Mary pass define him and said he's, quote, wearing it like a jacket. Yeah, Stevenson has really stepped up his game this season. He's had to carry a heavier load with Jalen Johnson out. He's made the most of it, logging 19 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, an interception, and 5 passes defensed in the first 4 games this season. And though there were times Stevenson could have lost his job, he could have folded, but he didn't. In the last 2 games, he's played some of the best football of his career. Yeah. Yep, so the Bears returned to D.C. with mixed feelings. Yeah, it was the site of the Failed Mary, but we kind of had the Commanders to thank for ridding us of Matt Eberflus. Yeah. And then giving us this guy. Yeah, the Bears are in a much better place since the Fail Mary game, no question. The culture has changed for the better. The team has responded well after an 0-2 start when they had to win 2 games in a row to get to 500 heading into the bye week. Well, they did what they needed to do. And they played a dominant game at home against the Raiders and went on the road and won a close thriller against the Raiders. Sorry, I played a dominant game at home against the Cowboys.
John, you're turning me on.
Yeah, heck, after the Lions game, Bears fans are ready to throw in the towel on the 2025 season. Now the team is 2-2, and the rest of the schedule doesn't seem as daunting as before. Most Bears fans don't know what to think, Aldo.
That's one of the best lines in the TV show ever.
Yeah, but Ben Johnson also may have some unfinished business with the Commanders. After all, it was Jaden Daniels and the Commanders who knocked Ben Johnson of the Lions out of the playoffs last season, winning 45-31 and earning a spot in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding last year's Fail Mary game, Johnson only said this, quote, "You'd have to talk to those guys about it. We're a new team, and we're just focused on winning this game this week." With his team struggling to run the ball and stop the run, Johnson has other things on his mind coming out of the bye week, saying, quote, "We're still a work in progress. Inconsistent nature with which we're playing. We're shooting ourselves in the foot quite a bit." And no doubt, Ben Johnson's looking for ways to keep focus off of the ghosts of the last season. And one specter's still looming. Yeah, next Monday's game is another chapter in the Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels story. The moment these two players were selected first and second overall in the 2024 draft, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels' careers were inextricably linked. Without any choice in the matter, the two players were joined in an obligatory rivalry. Adding to the rivalry is the fact that no two players selected first and second overall have ever both made the Hall of Fame. Comparisons will be made throughout their careers. They'll be judged against one another, whether fairly or unfairly, within the drama of the NFL. Last year, Caleb had a rocky first season and saw his first NFL coaching staff fired. Daniels, he went on to an NFC Championship game and NFC Rookie of the Year honors. And in their first game, Jaden Daniels arguably outplayed Caleb Williams, throwing for 326 yards and a touchdown. Williams, by comparison, well, he was 10 of 24 for 134 yards, no touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 59.5. Yeah, in fact,
it's only a game. Why do you have to be mad?
Yeah, I have no idea.
we should be used to it by now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in fact, Caleb has played 3 of the quarterbacks of the 2024 quarterback class, and he's 0-3. No doubt he's anxious to improve on that record. No doubt Williams turned it up around the season under Ben Johnson's coaching and is playing with a high degree of confidence. Yeah, Bears have done what they needed to do to save their season by winning 2 must-win games. They're now 500 in a season where perennial playoff teams like the Chiefs and Raiders are both sub-500. The game against the Commanders next Monday night will tell us a lot about this current Bears team and whether or not the Bears are contenders or pretenders. It's time to learn more about Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, this young Bears team, and that's Bears State of Affairs.
Oh, John, you're too much, too much, too much. Oh, John, hen!
John, you're on a roll. You're on a roll, on a roll. Do you think of this stuff when you're on the toilet bowl? When you're on a roll, it gets me thinking and singing. You just know how to let us who is sinning. Roll, roll, roll. John is on a roll.
Well done, John Santucci. Very well done.
It's weird. Some of my slides didn't make it over. It's weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like looking for him in there. I'm like, what the heck?
Oh, that's why the long pauses that I just
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Frozen. Frozen.
Who's that supposed to be again?
It's Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
Yeah, but the face is different.
Yeah, it's AI.
Oh, okay. So they just came up with a.
Nicholson was younger in that movie too.
Yeah, very true. Hey, Lutz, the reporter with the Fight Out of the Nation, he writes, "I'm playing it safe, taking Commanders off my Circa card. My program says if Bears win in DC, they will win the next 4 games easily." That's something that we're going to talk about, Lutz, because there's an opportunity here to put together a long winning streak. Yeah. Also, make sure you are checking Lutz. He writes for thepatch.com. And by the way, I saw a commercial of the president of Circa saying we're now in Illinois, through us. Mm-hmm. So, look, I want you to negotiate a deal with Circa and bare their souls so that Danikin, Tooch, Zimmerman, myself, and Fitz can get some money out of this thing. Thank you, Lutz, for the donation. Really appreciate it, man.
Is Fitz dropping by later?
Fitz is going to be here at the top of the hour. He's
nice.
I'm going to give away who he is reviewing tonight. It's Rico Benny's, and he is going to do a live taste test of a special potato chip.
Oh yeah,
man, I miss Rico Benny's. I haven't had the breaded steak sandwich in so long. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I got to get over there. It's been a while.
Their fries are great too.
Mm-hmm. You been there, Danikin? Rico Benny's?
I haven't been there. It's been a long time for me.
Well, after you watch his video, you're going to be we're taking the next plane to Chicago.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They don't have many locations left. I think it's just like Archer Avenue, like
one or two, I think. Yeah. There's one near Sox Park, not too far. I think that's the one in Archer. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Bears and Tucci's state of affairs. And, Lutz's point here, I know, Danikin, you were nodding your head up and down. Tell me what the ramifications of this game are from a winning streak potential. I'm going to put the schedule up here. But like Lutz said, we could get on a nice little streak here if we win that road game in Washington.
Absolutely. I mean, we're right now on a 2-game winning streak, right? So we got back-to-back wins. We're looking for a third straight. And then, once if that happens, of course, right? Monday night is going to be a difficult game, no doubt. I mean, it's in Washington, so by any stretch of the imagination, we're not saying that it's going to happen, but it's a possibility. We can get this dub, right? So if we do, that's 3 in a row, and then you got the Saints. They don't really particularly scare me at all, right? You got week 8, which is Baltimore. That's going to be a tough game. It's on the road, of course, so that's going to be a tough one. Whether they have Lamar Jackson or not, you know what I mean? If he's healthy or not, it's going to be a tough game. They're going to be ready to play. They're at a situation where they're going to be playing pretty much desperation as well, depending on how their next couple of games go, because they've started off slow this year, right? So with that being the case, they're going to be locked in trying to win games and make sure that they're in the playoff mix as well. So that's a difficult task. Then you got Cincinnati, Joe Flacco going in there. He's not going to be, how of course it's going to be, you got some skill position players like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and those guys, but can Joe really get them the ball? Is he washed all the way up, up the creek right now? That's the way I'm looking at it. So that's a winnable game, even though it's on the road, of course. And then you have the New York Giants, who we talked about as well. And, they have a rookie quarterback. They have pieces, around the football field, but nothing solidified yet. We don't even know what their identity is. They're a team that's struggling, in my opinion. So these are all winnable games, man. You're looking at a situation where the Bears could reel off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 7 victories in a row, including the past 2 that we just had. So if you win that, you're sitting at 7-2 going into week 11, and that's a real good feeling. So it's a potential that they really have to win some games here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And it all starts with that really tough road game in Washington, because it's a really tough road game because Washington has a good team. They got some talent on their squad. You'll hear from Caleb later saying that it's a very well-coached team. Jaden Daniels, of course. There's so many different storylines with what's going on with this game. Tooch, of the storylines that are going on, the quarterbacks facing each other that you mentioned in Bear State of Affairs, the return of Caleb to Washington, Tyreek Stevenson, all that. So what's the biggest storyline for you in terms of how it may impact the game? Because I frankly, I get a little worried thinking about Tyreek going back there and saying, God damn, this is what all happened. And just, screwing up again just because his mind isn't 100% on the game. What do you think, Tooch?
Well, there's definitely pressure, but fortunately, both Caleb and Tyreek Stevenson are playing with a high level of confidence. They both have stepped up their game. I know Tyreek Stevenson, after that Lions game, we were thinking, man, we got to bench this guy, and then after that, he's really turned it on, man. Arguably we couldn't have won our 2 victories without him playing at this high level. We did get some good defensive performances from Tremaine Edmonds and Kevin Byard, and great play from Roma Dunze and Caleb Williams. So both players are playing with a high level of confidence. All 3 stories kind of both worry me and don't worry me at equal levels. Ben Johnson, of course, was knocked out of the playoffs last year by the Commanders. That was in Detroit too.
It's another storyline.
They hung 45 points on the
he went crazy.
And I mean, there's lots to prove for this young team, but the thing I think at the back of mind is that if they do lose this game, there's like 4 or 5 games after that are winnable games. They could arguably win 5 of those easy games and still get to 7 victories. I know 7 and 10 wouldn't, ring anybody's bell, but
not mine.
Yeah, I mean, especially after these past couple weeks, they put together some amazing defensive performances with all the injuries they've had. Which, to me, I wonder how long they can keep that up, especially against a good team like the Commanders. I think that might be what worries me the most is the run defense, and then the inability to get our run game going against a really strong Commanders defensive line.
But from the run defense standpoint, we do potentially, it looks really good that TJ Edwards returns and Kyler Gordon returns. Those 2 guys alone are going to aid this run defense. Danikin, in terms of those TJ Edwards coming back, what do you do with Tremaine Edmonds? Do you leave him outside? Because that's what I would do. He's looked a lot better outside than he does inside. And TJ has played a lot of middle linebacker. I would move him in there, and then Noel Sewell would be my 3rd linebacker on the traditional sets. What would you do?
Man, that's a good question. I like Tremaine in the middle of the field as well. I like him in the middle just because he's so tall. He's 6'5", and anything going across the middle, he's you got to get it up and over him. You know what I mean? So that's a nice thing to have. TJ plays it very well as well. I think they're interchangeable in that way, right? Which is good. But I'd like to see him go back to, let Tremaine play the middle and put TJ back outside and just go with it like that. I think that's the best way to go for it, in my opinion. But they are interchangeable in that way. You can have guys fill voids, which is good.
Right.
Versatility.
I think you'll see them interchangeable in this game. I think you'll see some sets where Tremaine's in the middle and then TJ's in the middle. Dennis Allen, that's one of the things that I like about his defense is that he tries to disguise and fool the quarterback. And from a fan perspective, who's a little bit of a student of the game, I like to see how that defense is lined up and the diversity that he has with his schemes and stuff. Doesn't always work, primarily, I think, because the pass rush hasn't been there, but the defensive back still. What is it? I think I saw somewhere that they are tied for the most interceptions in the league. Whatever the case is, that those DBs are doing an excellent job. And now that Kyler Gordon is back, it's going to be even better. It's the run defense, like you guys mentioned. That's the worrisome thing. B. Shep says, buy a beer on him.
All right,
B.
Shep.
Shep, thank you very much, man. B. Shep, let me tell you something. I know a good hairdresser, bro. Oh, that's your dog. just kidding. Thank you very much for the donation, B. Shep, and really appreciate you.
Yeah.
So run defense. Anybody want to add anything else to the Bears run defense and what you either foresee or other concerns regarding it and how it can be potentially fixed?
Yeah, there's major concerns on my end when it comes to the run defense. We've had some poor showings when it comes to the run game, and we got to remember just to we're coming off a bye week, of course, so I'm sure they addressed some of those issues. But the game before the bye week against the Raiders, you know what I mean? Ashton Genty went, berserk. 7.7 yards per carry. You cannot win football games consistently when you're giving up 7.7 yards per carry on the run.
Yep. Indeed.
I mean, you're setting teams up for a second and short. They're not even getting a third down because, second and third, the whole playbook's open. You know what I mean? So you can do pretty much whatever you want to do. The defense is at your mercy at that point. So the Bears have to lock in. They got to do something. Hopefully getting healthy was one of those things with Grady Jarrett. And hopefully my man Javon Dexter kind of steps up and continues his ascension. And a lot of people are bad or knocking him. But if you look at his numbers and what he's done compared to the rest of the defensive tackles around the NFL, he's up there, bro. He's really playing well.
Yeah,
you know?
he's
so
just
the Bears fans, we want him
plays.
to do this, but he's solid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he's not doing the splash plays that really throw fans and get people talking. But I do agree, a lot of the good stuff that he does goes unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
We do need a little bit more from him in terms of that interior pass rush, just so that it can help the outside pass rushers get to the quarterback. J2K makes a really great point here. He says if Daniels is still wearing that knee brace and he's not going to be running as much or as well as he is capable of and shows every week, then giving Billings more snaps in the middle to clog up those running lanes for those commander running backs would be a great idea. But if Daniels is running well, I don't think you see Billings out in the field much, man, unless it's, third and short or something like that. Because there's just no way he can, he doesn't have the speed or quickness. Quickness is relative, right? But
last year, Daniels torched us eight carries for 52 yards. Some of those were clutch conversions, converting for a first down. And then, I don't know, I haven't checked the injury report out. Is Terry McLaurin still out? Because he went for 125 yards against us in that last game. And, Zach Ertz had 7 catches.
I didn't see today's injury report if the Washington sent one out there. But I do know that earlier in the week, Coach Quinn said that he was optimistic that McLaurin was going to play. So I would count on him playing. By the way, let's thank you again for another $4.99 donation. Barroom realizes importance of the next 4 games. So does Ben Johnson. We've seen Johnson's locker room rabbi, Raby chant, Bears will be fired up. Totally agree. That's one of the reasons why I love this coach, because I think he fires up the team. He has put a sense of urgency into these players. When you hear him at the press conference, and I got to tell you, I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to Caleb Williams behind the mic today, but to me, it was my all-time favorite Caleb Williams to date press conference, because he sounded so mature. Let me give you a little taste of some of the stuff that he said, because he just sounds like, I'm my own man here. So this is him talking about preparation.
It's a week-to-week basis kind of thing. It's a week-to-week league. There's teams that may have lost to a team that another team beat the week before and things like that, you thought that they shouldn't be. So it's a week-to-week thing. And so my comfort starts with my preparation throughout the week. And so being able to prepare the same way that I've been preparing, and finding better ways to, be more efficient and things like that with my preparation, and be able to, gain more knowledge and, be able to become more comfortable, each and every week, and find ways to become more and more comfortable each and every week with what's put in front of me, I think is the most important thing. And I think that builds the confidence for, each week. And then obviously when you get out there on Sundays and this week on Monday, I think that's where the confidence and the belief comes from. Like I said, each week is its own.
Let me add one more there, because I know that one, you just listen to that one on its own and you would say Aldo's full of shit. But listen to a little bit more about him talking about last year and the disappointment of last year in D.C.
Does it still sting? Obviously, you don't want to lose, especially in that fashion of a Hail Mary. So does it bother me? I'm not going to speak for everybody else. Does it bother me? Yeah, in the sense of, I want to go out there and I want to win every single game that I got. And I know that's not going to happen. So, being able to, orchestrate, this game, orchestrate this week, have the guys focus on what we need to focus on, I think is where I'm at, and not necessarily going down the rabbit hole of the revenge title or anything like that. I think it's being able to focus on us. This team's different than last year. The coaching obviously is different. A bunch of things are different. So being able to focus on us and be able to lead these guys the way that they need to be led, and be able to go out there and focus on what we need to focus on to be able to go win the game at the end of the day.
Because of how that game ended last year and how the subsequent ones went after that, what did you learn about, I guess, that 24-hour rule? Because I know you mentioned it at the time with Arizona, like just being able to flush something that was so bad and being able to move on. As a leader, what did you learn about that?
Yeah, I got to do a better job in those situations. I think, we had those first 2 games this year, and I think I did a better job of, being able to come into the facility and be able to move on. And, we got our tails whooped the second game. We had a comeback game that we allowed the team to come back on us. So, those are tough games, especially to start the season and, versus divisional opponents. So being able to come in here and be the same guy, but also understand, my energy, my attitude, my, how I come in here each and every day, whether it's a win or a loss, affects everybody, affects the building. And so, I think it starts with myself and being able to and look at myself in the mirror in those ways when things aren't going right, and then being able to come in here when things are going right and be the exact same guy.
Did the homecoming aspect to that game add to the sting for you?
Yeah, that was probably a little bit of it. Just because when you go back home, I think any player, any coach, any whatever case, any competitor, when you go back home and you're going to be in front of whether your people are actually there or they're going to be watching because it's home. And so being able to come out with a win always feels a little bit better when you can do it at home, and not being able to go back home as much as you may like or anything like that because of what the job requires. And so when you do get to go back home and play in front of a crowd and play in front of a crowd that many fans were whether it's high school or little leagues or anything like that have watched me growing up, you want to be able to win those games.
That was a better representation of who the difference between Caleb in 2025 and 2024.
Sounds like a totally different guy.
Right? I love that guy. And I am with a lot of people in the chat talking about the importance of the game and so forth. And just me as a fan, I pull for the players themselves, so I want to see Caleb succeed. He's taking so much shit from even Chicago Bears fans, but fans all across the nation, of football fans all around the world. Yeah, he paints his nails, this shit, and that's it. It's like, dude, it's time for you to shut these motherfuckers up. Go to DC, close down. Open up the government because it's already closed, and win this game. I'm getting more and more psyched up the more I hear myself.
Yeah.
It's the Alameda Zacchaeus revenge game too, Aldo.
That one, yes. He had a pretty good season last year with Jaden Daniels. I don't think he's going to get the numbers this year that he got last year unless this offense catches fire.
Yeah, did you read the little story about Alameda, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Swift? They all kind of grew up in the Philadelphia area.
Go ahead. Yeah, tell us more about it. Do you remember?
They played together as like junior high and high schoolers, like on teams and against each other and stuff. And the three are kind of tight this season and stuff. They're having fun.
Yeah, they guys that grew up together basically now playing for the same professional football team. That's NFL, a pretty amazing story.
Yeah,
pretty amazing story. I will. Who wrote that? That was Jason Leisure.
Jason Leisure. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, and that's free. The story I also recommend people read, but I think it's behind the Athletics paywall, is the story Dan Wiederer wrote about Tyreek Stevenson and what Tyreek went through. He really opened up about how the fail Mary play impacted his life, impacted his confidence, and where he got help from. And so there's a number of really interesting stories, including a guy who was his high school coach, football coach, and has been his counselor throughout the years, giving him some tremendous advice, really tough love type of advice. Hey, you fucked up, so what do you expect? People to be nice to you on social media? That kind of advice. And then also he says the biggest turning point is, man, I would love to interview this guy, Tony Medlin, the equipment manager, because he's been there like for 30, 40 years. He knows where all the bodies are buried and stuff. I'd love to talk to him. But Tony Medlin asked him, Tyreek, have you forgiven yourself? And Tyreek, paused and said, "Holy shit, that's probably why I haven't been myself, because I haven't gotten to that point yet where I have really forgiven myself for that fuck up that I did. I'm over there arguing with a big fat guy in the stands and shit, And man, I'm telling you, it's a great effing article if you can get your hands on it. Dan Weaver wrote it for The Athletic. It came out yesterday. It's really good stuff." Yeah. All right, guys. I got a little bit more of who is it here? So let's talk about the running game here. And in 15 minutes, Fitz should join us. Let's talk about the running game. The Bears' offensive part of the running game. Oh, there's Tony.
Tony Medlin and Colston Loveland. I was trying to find this quick.
That's amazing. I thought that was like a 7-foot basketball player. That's amazing, man. I love to interview that guy. Both of those guys. So this is, we know that the Bears have had trouble with the offense, with the running game, like Stooch mentioned in State of Affairs. So what's the problem? Is it the running backs or is it something else? This is what Ben Johnson said today.
It's hard to evaluate any of our running backs right now when you turn on the tape and there's some free runners in the hole where the play is designed to go. And so like I said last week, I take it personally because I actually spend more time on the run game than I do on the passing game, and not only trying to create explosives in the running game, but being sound, and take a lot of pride in our execution of the fundamentals of, you talk about a deuce block, deuce combination, all looking the same, a triple between the tight end and the tackle, all looking the same. And we're not quite there yet. And so, it's been a race since training camp started. We get pads on. That's when the full speed starts happening, and you get linebackers that are coming downhill and pulling you off your double teams, and we're just not reacting fast enough right now. And so we got to learn from everything that we put on tape so far as an entire unit, so that those combinations can be a lot cleaner. And so we give our runners a chance, because we do have some dynamic players, whether it's our running backs or our receivers, that if we can give them a chance to get a little bit of green grass, they take advantage of it. But we just haven't done it consistently enough.
Yesterday, I see the offensive lineman up front getting beaten off the snap, right? Jonah Jackson, being able to get out and pull and be able to get to his block or reach his.
Forget him. That was Danny Zimmerman on yesterday's Buffon 55. He basically, before the press conference, he basically said what Ben Johnson said. It's the offensive line that is not doing a good enough job blocking. Now, he pointed out that, and I agree with this, Theo Benedict is not a good pass blocker, but he is a really good run blocker. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's enough to put him at the left tackle position, but if this Jackson guy at the right guard position continues to unimpress people, I wouldn't mind seeing Theo in there or some combination. What do you guys think about the right guard position and about Benedict playing left tackle or somewhere in the line?
Man, I don't know. I don't know about Benedict playing left tackle yet. I don't know if he's ready for that type of situation. You got to protect the blind side of the quarterback. That's the most important position on the football field, right? On the offensive side. I mean, besides the quarterback, of course. So I don't know if he's ready for that. We'll see. And then when you think about Jonah Jackson, I think it's just a matter of time for him. I don't want to cut bait on him so soon. I want to give him a little bit of time, because I think he's a proven player in the NFL. He's a proven guy in the NFL. And you work with it a little bit. The thing is that when an offensive line comes together and you got 3 new pieces in there, it's going to take some time to get continuity, for them to communicate, for them to play as one unit. I mean, you got to be locked in. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So that's going to be the hurdle that they have, but it's a very difficult one that they have to go through, and they have to get through it as quickly as possible, because the season is getting towards the middle of the season, right? So, I was saying this a couple weeks ago. Last week, I think I did it on the points that we had, and the week before, I'm looking at it, and I think a lot of people are on Swift. They're like, oh, get a new running back in here, trade for somebody, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, give him a little bit of time, man. He had 14 carries that game. And when I looked at the tape, I could count 9 of those carries where somebody just came crashing through the hole and was in the backfield meeting him when he got the ball almost. So it's like, how much damage is the guy going to be able to do when he has free runners coming at him downhill every time he gets the ball? You know what I mean? So, yeah, you'd like to see him make some people miss. And like, I think I touched on his vision. I think his vision needs to be a little bit better, seeing where the holes are or seeing where they're coming from and going the opposite direction. I think sometimes he gets himself in trouble by not leaning so heavily on his athletic ability rather than having the vision to get away from guys. So he needs to work on that, but the offensive line definitely has to create some room for him to run a little bit.
The Bears are on a bye, but I don't really mind, 'cause I got Danikin.
See,
fucking your fists. Use lube.
How come he gets the hot chicks? I get chipmunks.
Here's the truth behind that. I came up with I thought was a funny line after like 20 attempts and it wasn't funny, but it was too long. It was like 12 seconds long. And I thought, I remember you saying, hey, can they go a little faster next time? I'm sitting there waiting for the fucking thing to end. And so I said, let me try speeding it up. And then when I heard it's like chipmunk style, I thought, it'll be okay. It'll be 7 seconds out. It wasn't okay. I'll work on it too, I promise. How about this one?
His name is John Santucci. He's never worn Gucci, but he knows a thing or two about pussy.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, man,
That's
there's
my favorite.
so much to unpack there with Ben Johnson and the run game and the offensive line and stuff.
Start unpacking, brother.
Well, I guess the biggest thing would be the fact that we're going into our 5th game in the 6th week of the season, and our offensive line still isn't sorted. But I've always been kind of get the best 5 guys out there, and if one of those 5 is Theo, then let's get him out there. And every time we kind of say, "Oh, this Theo Benedict is not that good," he plays okay, and then of course we still have the specter of Ozzie Trapillo, looming. He played pretty good against Max Crosby, and then Darnell Wright, is he making his return? Are we getting our five guys out there, the 5 best guys, and all the planning that went into this offensive line, making it better and such. While the interior's been pretty good. I mean, Caleb Williams, you have to figure that the protection that those 3 are giving him in the middle in his face has led to his improvement. He's had a little bit more time to throw, and he hasn't been as rattled in the pocket with the 3 interior offensive linemen. So the hope is we get this offensive line sorted and we get our 5 guys out there. I kind of had a long way to get there, to say a short thing or whatever Zim's saying is. I can't remember what it is. A long way to go for a short distance. But,
there you go.
That's what my thoughts.
It is important to get the offensive line set, because you put all these resources into it. You put in 3 big free agent contracts, a 2nd round pick, and stuff. Yeah, they didn't perhaps properly address the left tackle position, and as soon as they signed Jonah Jackson, I was a little bit, yeah, he had 2 good seasons with Detroit, but last year was a fiasco for him. And so I wasn't as high on that as I was with Tooney and Dahlman. Dahlman, not a great center, but certainly one of the best centers. There was something that I put up on my Twitter account, my X account. I retweeted something from Football Insights. They're an analytics company, and they said that the most pressure they listed all the quarterbacks, and the most pressure for the Bears was coming from the left tackle position. So that's Braxton Jones, primarily, right? The second most was the right guard position, and that's Jonah Jackson. The third most was the center. The fourth most was Darnell Wright, and tied for the least was Tooney and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was, and Tooney were only responsible for 9% of the pressures. And when they have fixed that to a quarterback, it's holding the ball too long. If you hold the ball 2.7 seconds or longer, then they'll blame the pressure on you if there is pressure. So I sent that out. But the bottom line on this is that the pass rush, the pass blocking is not where it should be, and the run blocking is even worse. And that's the fact. And I agree with Danikin. You can't give up on Jackson just yet. You got to work with what you got. You got to coach him up. There's too much invested here. But at a certain point, you just got to start looking. And we saw that with Braxton Jones being benched basically for the third and fourth quarter and then putting Benedict in there. And I studied some of that tape because I had to cut some stuff for Greg's show on Tuesday. And Benedict looks like an excellent run blocker, but as a pass blocker, and I saw on that tape, right before or after the play, Tooney, when he was at the left tackle, Tooney talking to him a lot, because he probably didn't know certain ways, that play worked for the offensive lineman and so forth. So he's at that disadvantage. So I'm not sure we should put a lot of weight on Benedict right now. If he does win that tackle position, then great. That's great for him, but not great because I really do hope Braxton Jones and his experience can step back in there and do the kind of job that we've seen when he was at his best.
Eddie Goldman revenge game?
Eddie Goldman.
I didn't know he was on the Commanders.
Yeah.
I had to look it up.
He unretired for the second time. That's true. So, but I don't know, man. This line play, both defensive and offensive line, is the one flaw with this team that could ruin, playoffs. Yeah, I'm starting to use that word playoffs because why not? Right now we're in it 2-2, and we got that schedule coming up.
What's sad is that and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or anything like that, but let's just be real. The game is won where? In the trenches, right. Offensive and defensive side. And the fact that we're sitting here and you're saying the offensive and defensive fronts are what's going to hinder us, we got to fix that. They got to remedy that, right? So I hope that they spent the majority of this bye week really focused on ways that you can get better, personnel packages that you can put together that play well. You know what I mean? Something to spark or infuse something in both sides, the offensive and defensive lines, to get them moving in the right direction because we don't have a lot of time. Right. These are the games, right? We just talked about the schedule and things like that. It's 7 games, right? These 7 games are going to make or break this season, right? So when we're sitting here and we're saying, hey, these are important games, they're must-win games. Yeah, you're right, they're must-win games. Because if we don't win games right now, come week 10, week 11, and you're sitting there at 3-6 or whatever, now you're looking at the season being over with. So these games, the Bears are in a prime position to win some meaningful games and then head into December and January looking, to make waves or make some noise when it comes to possibly making the playoffs. So that's, it's very important for them to win these games. These are must-win games. Beat teams that you're supposed to beat.
I agree with you. And, we went through the schedule, but I'd like to just add some more thoughts to that. Obviously, we've talked about the Washington game. I personally think that that's going to be a little too big a hill to climb, but I hope that I'm wrong. But definitely week 7, week 8, and week 9 and week 10 are very doable because, well, we know what's going on with New Orleans and Spencer Rattler, and that team is just going through a rebuilding early stage. So at home, that should be a definite win, just like it was with the Cowboys. The most interesting game out of this stretch is the Ravens, because I do see a strong possibility that we can go into Baltimore and beat that team because there is so much dysfunction right now. Now, a lot depends on Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson can beat the shit out of dysfunction. He can beat the shit out of most NFL teams any day, anytime. He can do it. But if he is out, and if that dysfunction and those injuries, Roquan and other key players are out or not 100%, that's a very winnable game on the road. And then in week 9, I know that Joe Flacco beat us when he was quarterback in the Browns, but I don't think he's going to beat us again. And frankly, Flacco didn't look like he was all that great in the 4 games he's played this season. So I think those 2 road games against AFC Central teams are definitely winnable. You know what? Go ahead, Tuch.
Real quick, speaking of the Bears' run defense, the number 1 team in the NFL running the ball, Aldo?
Washington Commanders.
Commanders, number 1, 156.4 yards per game. We better come ready to stop the run. You know?
They should allow us to play with 12 guys on defense. You think we can stop the run then? I mean, come on. But no, exactly that again. All right, there's a very handsome fellow backstage. I think it's time we bring him in. His name is Fitz, and every time we greet him, we like to play this little video. It's a short little ditty that goes like, if I can find it, it goes like
where the link was.
He's about to make me hungry. Gonna microwave popcorn, trust me. When he talks about food, my appetite is renewed. This is Fitz with his restaurant critique.
I was actually going to have some microwave popcorn ready for tonight's show. Fitz, how are you, brother?
Good. How's everybody doing?
I think we're all doing
not
okay.
Not bad.
Congratulations, Dan, with the Cubs win today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We got one. We got one.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I was scared because we were leaving so many guys on base. And I thought to myself, they're going to blow this. But they held on.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice sweatshirt there, Fitz.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
where'd you get that one?
This was, I think, a gift from one of my daughters.
She's got great taste. That really stands out.
If I look good,
I thought you stole that out of somebody's locker.
Really? It looks like you stole somebody's locker.
No, if I look good, it's because they keep me looking good. So that's what, you know.
Well, I was thinking, this guy looks good. Pooch, on the other hand, we got to help him out a little, and then help me out.
There's no help.
Fitz, how'd you spend the bye week?
The bye week, I watched a little football. I watched, I guess, enough to go, but it was nice to just sort of watch. Not worried about anything. I love watching Bears games, but I just like enjoying football as well. It's very hard to sometimes watch a Bears game and enjoy football, especially recently. So it was
recently, like the last 40 years or so.
Right, yes. At least since Lovey's been around.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey Fitz, something you said kind of strikes something with me, because you said it's hard to watch Bears football and stay motivated, That's why I don't like the 12 o'clock game. Because when they lose, if they lose that early round, the rest of my day is shot. Monday is shot. I don't want to watch Monday night football. Sunday night football. I don't want to watch that. I'm now disgusted with the whole weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather I'd rather have a Monday night game, because I can enjoy all of Sunday's games.
Right, yeah.
And then, we may have turmoil on Monday. Hopefully not, but we may have turmoil.
Yeah,
Right.
two Sundays without a Bears game. That's kind of odd.
That is very odd.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Danikin, I think that the agony, the anguish of losing, the Bears losing, extends throughout the week. Like if they lose on Sunday, whatever time, Monday morning traffic is awful. I swear, people are aggressive. It's a good day just to stay home. And on some really, really big games, you can still sense in the city when you're in downtown or in crowded Chicago areas, you sense something in the air that makes you think, man, if they would have won, that person would not have stuck their middle finger at me just because I, spit their way or whatever. Anyway, Fitz, it's about you. I know you wanted to review something special tonight.
Yeah, I was out with my daughter. We were walking through the neighborhoods in Chicago and came across this market, Andale Market. There's two locations, one in Andersonville and one in Lincoln Park, and they had some special potato chips. I think some people have seen these out here. It's from a local style potato chips. This is a hot jardiniere.
All right.
And we've got a deep dish pizza.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And an Italian beef.
Very nice.
Damn, I'll pick some of those up when I'm there.
Love the packaging.
The bag says local style chips. It's women owned and made for Chicago. So how can you go wrong with that? So
are you going to taste test for the first time?
Yeah, I haven't opened these. So
Nice.
So which one should I go with first? The beef, pizza, or the jardiniere?
Go ahead, guys.
Jardiniere.
Jardiniere?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, jardiniere, definitely.
That's what the
Right.
Italian guy would say. Tooch.
So again, with these, it's not just taste alone. Does it taste like what it says it tastes like?
That's a good point.
Yeah. So chips right now, a little smell. Yeah, I can smell some peppers in there. Some hot.
Well, vinegar.
They're kettle chips too, so nice crunch
yeah.
too. So these are, yeah. Look at that.
Ooh, looks nice. Nice crunch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good chip. And it does have the jardiniere taste to it, and there's some heat to it at the end there.
Ooh.
These would go great with just like some sour cream. Just a little sour cream dipping in them.
A little sour cream and onion dip.
Not even that. Just get your old, Dean sour cream or whatever you got.
Can I ask you to look at the ingredients and what's the first ingredient listed?
Potatoes.
Nice.
Okay.
That's almost a good sign when you're eating potatoes.
Yeah, when I understand the word.
Yeah.
Are they fried in beef tallow? That's like a thing now.
Yeah,
These
that's
are
right.
sunflower and soybean oil. So
That's healthy. Yeah.
it's got garlic powder, carrot powder, which is part of the jardiniere.
Yep.
Celery, onion, vinegar. Yeah. So this is really good.
Nice.
Are you going to taste the other ones? I hope you do.
Oh yeah.
I hate to make you open all three of them,
I
but
got my palate cleanser here.
There you
Right. His favorite.
RC Cola.
That was my favorite when I was growing up.
Can't go wrong with RC Cola.
Yep. It was the champagne of cola for me.
Yeah.
So I'll go to the Italian beef one since we had the jardiniere.
oh, that's the one I would have gone with for first.
Okay.
I'm an Italian beef guy.
I got a clip for your chip back here.
Oh yeah,
That's
these are little. I mean, I don't think you need any clips. You can just...
I need a clip like that when I smoke my next marijuana cigarette. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
That's a big one.
All right, so yeah, these got a good Italian beef smell.
Ooh, man, they look good. Look at,
Definitely mix these. Like put them in a bowl together.
yeah.
that makes sense.
I was thinking that.
Shake them up or something.
What? Let's put the Fitzometer to work there.
Yeah.
Can you give the
Let's try
Fitzometer?
this last one first.
Okay.
Got the pizza one. Hold on.
Oh, man.
Deep dish
Hold
pizza.
up that bag again because I love the artwork on the packaging.
Yeah,
there.
it's really
it's
good.
cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's very cool.
All right, this is deep dish pizza.
It's like food porn for us.
Also, there is mozzarella cheese.
Oh, wow.
One of the ingredients listed is mozzarella cheese. So
Wow.
tomatoes. Okay. All right, let's get it. Okay. It smells like deep dish pizza. Like if you're at Gino's East or Giordano's, and yeah, it's really crazy. Let's get a big one here. These kettle chips kind of curl up sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see there's even a little tint of red in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's But again, it's a good chip.
You're hesitating. Is this one going to be reach 300 on the Fitzometer?
Definitely. I'm just trying to say, does it bring out the pizza so much? I definitely get that the crust. You know, the crust has a certain taste to it.
Yeah, it does.
It leans more towards that. But again, really good chip. Maybe like with some like a chipotle sauce or something. Dip it. This would be really good. Or a ranch. Definitely ranch. Get out a good ranch.
Cool.
So I'm gonna go.
Which one was the best of the three?
I'm gonna go Jardiniere. Best beef.
Nice.
And then pizza.
Are all of them over 300? Are all of them getting on base there?
Yes, I will go 300 with these, and then I will go 310 with the Italian beef and 320 with the Jardiniere.
Nice. All right.
But again, if you get them,
I need them batting for the Cubs tomorrow.
Mix these two.
Are there other flavors or just those three?
I just saw these three. Okay. Somebody said there's a hot dog, a Chicago style hot dog.
Chicago dog. That's what I was going to say. I was wondering if they might have a Chicago dog.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Somebody saw them at the one of the festivals out at Navy Pier. So yeah, they're
nice.
So this was work. But yeah, I like them. I'll keep eating these throughout the show if you don't mind.
I gotta look for those. Okay. Look for those next time I'm in town.
Yeah.
Lutz wants that his cardiologist doesn't want him watching your segments anymore. Especially after that mac and cheese thing that you ate last week. Yeah. Oh my God, that thing! I was watching it again today. I was showing it to my wife, and she goes, "Are you kidding me? He made that up, right? That's AI, right? No, it's real."
That's the real thing.
It is the real thing.
Bro.
You got a really good one for us today. You want to introduce it? Your video?
Yeah, this is classic Chicago restaurant, Rico Benny's, Southside, all the way. It's one of those, if you're ever in town and you want to taste something Chicago, go to Rico Benny's. Get there. They're known for their breaded steak. But their chicken Vesuvio sandwich is probably maybe even better, which is, kind of hard to imagine sometimes. And they've got great pizza and it's just a great Chicago location. It's walking distance from the Rate Field. So a lot of people go there before Sox games and after Sox games are open late. And yeah, I did this a while back. I had a flat tire Monday that I ran into, so I couldn't get to my video for the week. So I was like, well, let's bring out a banger that was really good. So
yeah,
that's Rico Benny's is a favorite of mine, and I think many people who, if you visited it. So
yeah, I'm going to warn people.
Oh yeah,
if you're hungry, watch this at your own risk.
Yes.
Here it comes. 1 minute long.
Where can you find two of the best sandwiches in Chicago under one roof? Rico Benny's. Rico Benny's at 252 West 26th Street on Chicago's South Side has been serving up great food, including their legendary breaded steak and chicken Vesuvio sandwiches since 1944. Thin and tender breaded steak loaded with red gravy and mozzarella on fresh Toronto French bread, is as Chicago as it gets. Not to be outdone, the chicken Vesuvio is crispy and tender breaded chicken breast, garlic butter, lettuce, tomato, onions, and mayo. Both are outstanding and worth your time and stomach space. Overall, Rico Benny's is at MVP level and gets a 340 on the Fitzometer. That's Rico Benny's at 252 West 26th Street in Chicago, Illinois.
Very good.
Man, I haven't had one in so long, man. I love the breaded steak sandwich.
Yeah,
they have great fries too.
Yeah, they've got great fries and pizza. That day, my cousin was in town from Minneapolis, or from St. Paul. I'm sorry, and we took them there, and then he had we split a steak sandwich because those things are giant. We got the big one, so we split it.
Yep.
And then he wanted more Chicago food, so we went up to 31st Street to the Maxwell Street Depot and got him a pork chop sandwich and a pizza puff there. So it was we didn't film that part. So, but yeah, I mean, Rico Benny's is it's another one of those post World War II success stories. 1944. When everything was building up again, I bring it up. Hagen's is the same way. It's that mid-40s establishments that have just stuck around forever. And it's just, you can't say enough about it.
Yeah, when I worked in the Loop, they had a location on Lake Street.
That's right. They did have one for a little bit.
I used to go there a lot and just, gotta have breaded steak. And
you okay, Aldo?
I'm great. I'm even better now because we're going to have more of a discussion on chips. Danikin, what do you got for us?
I don't have them. I'm not tasting them. I'm not tasting them. But I just saw them. Yeah, I saw them today. And I was like, I think I might try those. I don't know.
That looks good. I think I've had those.
Yeah, I got them from what is it? Menards. Menards had them.
Really? Yeah, I saw those today, and I knew you were doing your little chip thing, and I'm like, I was just passing through, and I saw those. I'm like, Old Bay.
So hold on a second. Menards had this. So what do they do? Like help you grout or something?
Menards has just.
They have a nice little food section at Menards.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you get the hers is a great brand of chips, and I think they also have the Stubbs. The Stubbs barbecue chips.
Oh yeah, Stubbs is good. Yeah.
And the best cheese puffs you can get. The sweet, tangy, whatever
barbecue
sweet
cheese
barbecue.
puffs.
Oh yeah, those are the best. I can never pass those down.
Although I think I told you my Rico Benny's story before. When I was working downtown, I'd go for lunch there on Lake Street, and I was walking in, and Roger Ebert walks out.
Oh wow,
he's like 5 feet tall.
Yeah,
it was like tiny. I was like, that was Roger Ebert. Yeah.
I've been to Rico Benny's twice, and both times was after a White Sox game, and went to a bar, and we're like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You think Rico Benny's is still open? My friend said to me, and I go, hey, I don't know what it is, but I'll eat anything right now. and from what I remember, the food was delicious, and seeing those video shots from your video, Fitz, really started to bring back that memory because until now it was forgotten.
I'm on keto too, Gooch, and I made a keto apple pie tonight.
Oh, that's the thing about keto now. They've expanded it, Now keto bread, keto this, all the stuff that you couldn't eat before under keto.
All nut crust. It's like smashed or crushed pecans.
Mm-hmm.
And you fill it up and then put an almond flour crumble on top. So it came out nice, and then the keto sweeteners, so no sugar.
Mm-hmm. Jay's is the way I normally go.
Yeah, Jay's are good.
That's weird. I'm west of the Mississippi, and I swear that those like chip brands are different out here. There's like the odd brands like those Hers are out here. I don't know. You guys have Hers now, right, in Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
Like before, I used to not be able to get those, and I came out here like, they have all these, different brands and stuff here of chips and whatnot. East Coast.
I'm in Atlanta. You can't get Jay's in Atlanta at all.
Really?
Now, every now and then you'll walk into a gas station, you'll find crunchers, right? You'll see those every now and then, but it'll be the ones that I don't want. It'll be like dill pickle or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like them, but I wanted the barbecue. I wanted the something else. But they'll always have the one oddball. It might seem. When it comes to Rico Benny's, though, man, every time I go to Chicago, I always go, right? I want to go to Rico Benny's, but I can't deviate from getting the breaded.
Yeah, I want to try the chicken Vesuvio.
It's really
Vesuvio. I'm going to force myself to do it. I'll probably end up getting both.
Well, I was going to say we'll get one of each and we'll split half. So
that'll work. That'll work. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Danikin, are you planning on coming to Chicago for a game?
Yeah, I plan to, man. I want to come down there in November, maybe towards the end of November.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see how it goes.
Have a barroom get together.
Yeah, because Buffon, who lives out in Western Pennsylvania, he's coming for the Week 10 game, which is. I actually wrote that wrong.
11-0.
It's not on November 0. It's November 10th. Okay. So he's going to be here that weekend. So I wanted to see if barroom people who are from out of town are in town that weekend, so we could throw a little something.
So that's the Giant game then, right?
That is the New York Giants game.
Man, I might do that one. November 10th.
November 10th. And Fitz, if you're in town and want to do something on November 10th or November 9th is usually when we do the barroom party, let us know.
Yeah, I will. I'll actually be coming back from Arkansas. I'm officiating a wedding that weekend.
Ooh, nice.
So
you're an ordained minister?
What's that?
Are you an ordained minister?
An online ordained one, yep. So
very cool. Very cool.
So just to do weddings. So
yeah, I am too.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an old it's a friend of my daughter's that grew up with in Arkansas, and he DM'd me on Instagram. And Mr. Fitzpatrick, will you marry me and my girlfriend? So it's kind of like a full circle moment, yeah, I should, it's a Friday, so I could probably get back at some point, and get to that. So.
Excellent. Yeah, we'd like to do something every year, so either small or large. I don't know if we did anything last year, but would love to do something. We had one year we had a bowling party over by O'Hare Airport, and people showed up and bowled and stuff.
Yeah, that was great.
That was fun. And then another year we had a party here at my house. And the funny thing is my wife was away that weekend. So she was pissed off at me from the beginning because I scheduled this party while I'm away. I got the whole thing from my wife. Why do you always schedule stuff at the house when I'm out of town?
That's why.
Honey, it just works out that way. So I got that. So at that party, everybody was having a great time, a lot of drinking and so forth. But that's the infamous party that Mr. Shorty, when he was leaving the house, there he is, Mr. Shorty. When he's leaving the house, he decided to piss on my front bushes. I didn't know anything at all about it. The next morning she arrives in town, and me and Chris Watts, who spent the night, are having breakfast, and we're talking, and she comes in and she puts her things down and stuff, and she looks at me, and I know something's wrong because she's giving me that look, that hand on the hip thing. So who all was here last night? I go, sweetheart, who was here? I show you the list. And she goes, who is this person? And she shows me the ring video of Mr. Shorty peeing in the bushes. And I go, I can't tell who that is. Are you sure that's this house? It didn't work. I had to throw Mr. Shorty under the bus, but he made it up to me with a $300 gift certificate to Carson's, and my wife said, you can come over and shit in our backyard next time. He marked his territory, says Mr. Shorty. But
my wife's out of town for the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So come on over.
Nice. Many years ago, Vegas used to host these big tent parties, 1,000, 2,000 people in, and they had big screens all around the tent for the Super Bowl game. And they also had betting booths all around. And so you would bet prop bets, you would bet on the game as we were watching the TV, the screens, and all the drinks were food and free, and there was free food as well. It was such a good time. Did that 2 or 3 years, and then the NFL shut it down because they thought Vegas was making too much money off of it, and they said you can't show our games at these betting parties that you have.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
So, Fitz, let's talk a little Bears football. What is your anticipation for this Monday night's game?
Well, you guys mentioned it right before I came on. The Washington Commanders are the number 1 rushing offense in the league, and the Bears are 31st rushing defense. I think we actually moved up.
Yeah, that's right.
we
But
were on a bye.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Didn't give up any. So that really concerns me. And I was at Ditka's Sunday, and I watching that Chargers game with them. And they just kind of scare me. It's like the fan in me says, let's just go in and just destroy them for what they did to us last year. But just, I don't know. And it's just one of those games where I don't want to get my hopes up, but that's what Bears fans, that's what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to beat them 54-0, right?
It's funny that you say that, Fitz, because frankly, that's the way I typically am. But this week, yesterday on Buffon 55, I was filling in for Alyssa, and I said the Bears are going to lose in Washington. And I just using the most common sense that I have, everything just looks against the Bears. Like you mentioned, the run defense and their run offense, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if the Bears can pull this off. If they do, I will be so happy and proud of them, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it'll tell us a lot because, we played 2, arguably good teams to start the season, and then played 2 arguably bad teams, for the second, third, and fourth games. And now we're going to face a team that is a good team.
Right.
They're 3-2. They've, they had some troubles with injuries and stuff. So they've, struggled to 3-2, but they're still a dangerous team with dangerous playmakers.
Right.
A really good defensive line on the Commanders. They got a lot of star power on that defensive line, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of those Rocky theories with me. If they could just, be standing at the end, make it look good, be respectable and show that they deserve to be there, I'll be happy. If it's just a back and forth type of a thing, and they just, Washington won because they're at home for whatever reason, I'll be happy with that. But it just kind of like, it's Monday night. Bears historically have never been good on Monday night. Just everything's working against them in this, and I don't know if they're ready to.
I did say something earlier, Fitz, that coming off a bye, the Bears are historically 4-0 on Monday night. Yeah, that's probably the only time they've ever won Monday nights. Is
right. That's right. They're 4-75 on Monday night in the last 40 years. But
did you guys? Go ahead, please.
Something Caleb said in that quote that we listened to earlier of him at the press conference, and he was talking about it's a week-to-week league, and it's true, right? Because you look at how they struggled against somebody like the Raiders. Obviously, not a very good team. You know what I mean? And I felt like it was a game that the Bears needed so that they would stay locked in. So when I say that last week, right, I have to double down on that same thought now, right? Yeah. So I'm going to double down on that same thought because I'm thinking Ben Johnson's going to have these guys ready because he had a week to go in and whoop head, right, and beat these guys into shape because there were a lot of mishaps and problems in that game, even though we still won it, right? So we still won, which was great, but he had a ton of ammunition and things to get this team ready for. So if he did that, if the coaching staff did that and the team was locked in, and like we said last week, maybe they fell asleep at the wheel, almost crashed, and Now they're wide awake and they're paying attention. Maybe they lock in, and I'm going to take them to win this game in Washington because of that. I think Ben Johnson's going to have them ready. They're going to look like a different team. It's a week-to-week league. The Raiders looked decent against us. They gave us problems, and then they turned around the following week and bombed out the next week, right? And it looked like a bad game. So they look more indicative of who they are. So I want the Bears to do the same thing. Look more indicative of who they are.
Yeah, I love that.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm not a participation trophy kind of guy, but I do know that to build a team, it takes steps. You're not going to overnight go from one of the worst teams in the NFL to one of the best. It's happened in history, but it's highly unlikely that happens. And so I know that even if the Bears lose, they could end up impressing me to the point where I will say, you know what, winning these next 5 games in a row is definitely possible because I'm seeing great improvement. So I hate to say that almost publicly because it does sound like I'm making excuses for them losing a game that they haven't even played yet. But I do understand the process of getting better.
Yeah. I go back to 2021, and I was at the home opener that year where the Bears, Justin Fields, they beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who was in the Super Bowl that year? The Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, no one would have thought that day that you were looking at a team that was going to be in the Super Bowl, beating the Kansas City Chiefs, and then going on to, losing to the Rams in the final moments. They were almost Super Bowl champs that year. So, back to Dan's point, it's a week to week. We can't predict right now where they're going to be at the end of the year, no matter how much we think we can.
What's interesting is this whole week-to-week thing, and I totally agree with it, 100%. It is. But back in '85, I think Tucci and I will both agree on it. It wasn't a week-to-week league. Pretty early on in the season, we knew in '85, we knew the Bears were going to the Super Bowl. They knew they were going to the Super Bowl. They were making a record about it in week 8. So back then the league was just different. But now because of parity and the NFL wants it this way, so many close games and stuff, it's been manufactured where it is a week-to-week game. I don't have a problem with that. Every week on the NFL, there's close games. When you guys watch Red Zone at all?
Yeah, every now and then.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that witching hour is real, man. That thing is like, wow. Yep. So many games going on and so close and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember like mid '90s. It was you could always pencil in if you were doing any type of like gambling on games. Dallas, San Francisco, Buffalo. They were gonna win their games, and you just can't do that anymore.
Absolutely not. Absolutely, and fantasy has gotten a whole lot more difficult.
Yeah,
I'm in
we
3
just got
leagues.
2 upsets Monday night and Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 4-0 teams are gone. Yeah,
Patriots went on to beat the Bills. On Sunday night, and the Chiefs lost to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And Denver beat Philadelphia.
Denver beat Philadelphia. Yep.
I was gonna say I'm in 3 fantasy football leagues this year, and 2 of them I have a 1-4 record, and the only one where I have a winning record was a team that I took over from some guy. So I didn't even draft
it.
Watch me fucked up that team. Anyway, all right, guys, we've got a half hour left. Let's open it up. Let's talk about anything, whether it's movies, books, music, life story, anything at all going on. Tuchin, you're part of Iowa that you want to share with us?
Well, watching Task episode 5, which was fantastic.
Yes, it is.
We got one episode left.
Yes.
So,
it's just one. I thought there was 2.
Is it? I think there's. Well, that was episode 5. I thought there's only 6.
I thought there was 7. Let me check.
Is there 7? Okay,
continue.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last episode 5 was great.
Man, I'm glad because I watched it through. I binged a couple of them.
Caught up.
Yeah, I'm caught up now. So I got to 5. I watched 5.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the end. And I was pissed Because I was like, how is it going to end like that? Like, what happened?
It felt like an ending, right? Almost.
Yeah, I thought it was the end. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I was like, no, they didn't do that to us. They didn't do that to us.
Yeah,
They faked us out with who the mole was too, because I thought I thought it was the FBI boss, the lady.
Yeah.
She's always eating too. She's like, what? You never seen me eat before? You know, it's like,
block it out, Fitz. Block it out.
Yeah.
But there are 7 episodes.
Oh, are there? Okay. So
Yes.
2 more. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Fitz, you got to check this out because
you're missing out.
Again,
So
I've said it the last couple of weeks. The storytelling is so rich, man, and these characters are so well done. You know, there's this big thing in movies and TV shows where there are anti-heroes, you know, the Tony Sopranos and stuff. And you know, after watching a couple of episodes, you're like, you want to go to confession because I'm here rooting for a mass murderer, you know, a gangland boss and stuff.
Robbie Prendergast.
Yes, and this show is the same way. You know, there's the bad guys are there. I don't want to say they're really bad. They've kind of made mistakes to become really bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without giving away too much defense.
Tom Pelfrey, fantastic acting.
Fantastic. I've never seen him before.
He was in Ozark. He was Crazy Uncle Ben.
Oh,
remember Wendy's crazy brother from the Nut House that comes out.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
Crazy Uncle Ben. He's kind of playing Crazy Uncle Ben in this show.
Yeah, true.
He's doing another Crazy Uncle Ben.
Great cast, great actors.
Yeah.
Fitz, you watch anything?
Yeah, you know, McDonald's is coming back out with the Monopoly game. So I went back and I'm watching McMillions on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah.
About the scam for those 15 years, no one legitimately won the big prizes. It's just so dirty and just so you've got the Colombo crime family involved in it.
Aldo and I had a show about this show.
Yes,
well, the whole show. Yeah.
Well, inside story. I was working at McDonald's at the time, and so I get a call at 4 or 5 in the morning. Aldo, we need you back in the general office because Greenberg, the CEO of the company, was going to make a big announcement via video to the entire owner-operator organization, which is 15,000 restaurants, so about 10,000 owner-operators. And so I get there at 5 o'clock in the morning. We set up camera and blah, 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 and we're waiting and we're waiting and waiting. Finally, the CEO shows up at 10 a.m. and we tape him telling the whole story, but not the story that we see in the HBO show.
Okay.
He didn't say that part.
Wow.
He just said, we've been hacked, you know, company that we hired, trusted supplier, blah, 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 screwed us. And he tried to explain to the owner-operators what happened. And then when I saw the documentary and the main McDonald's person they talked to was one of my clients when I worked over there, it was fascinating to watch because I didn't know that whole inside story.
Yeah, and just the people that actually cashed in the tickets that they gave a ticket to, they got screwed, you know, because they were the ones paying the taxes and they're paying the half to, you know, for the ticket. It was like they got nothing out of it.
I'm telling you, it's like if I had family members involved in that, you know. My family, a lot of members of my family are looking for get rich quick schemes. Yeah, I'll do that and stuff. And I'm like, no, don't do that. You end up paying more in the end.
Yeah, it's just so, gosh, it's just you're hoping for like some sort of rainbow at the end of this, and it just doesn't get there. But yeah, I just going back to that one.
That's a good one.
You know, yeah, it's really well made. And then, you know, Golden Bachelor started, so my wife and I are watching that right now on ABC.
It's in People Magazine right now. I'm working on the Golden Bachelor story. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've been watching the Bachelor franchise for over 20 years, so yeah, we watch them all.
Some of those ladies in their 60s are hot, Aldo. You got to get that issue.
I'm
telling you, I'm not I normally go younger and stuff, but the story I was working on for People Magazine was pretty good, man. It's like I'm like, damn, that lady's 64. She looks like 44.
There was a 71-year-old lady in this one from Alaska that plays hockey still. And
I saw that. Yes. She's pretty good. She moves pretty good for a 70-plus-year-old.
Definitely.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm a big Survivor fan, and my wife and I, we've been watching it for years and years and years. It's such a really well-produced show.
It is. It is.
How
many episodes are they into the new season right now? I need to catch up on that. I haven't watched it at all.
Well, they've only had two eliminations. So this next Wednesday's episode will be the third one.
Okay.
Or tonight is the third one. Excuse me. Tonight is the third one.
I've only watched one season of that, and that was like the second season. It followed the Super Bowl. It was the Ravens Giants back in 2001, I think it was, and we watched it, followed the Super Bowl, and got hooked on it. And I don't know why we just never watched it again. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it is so good. You know, some seasons are better than others depending on the cast, because that's the most important thing is the people they cast. But over the years, they've made a lot of changes to make things more interesting with immunity idols and lots of cool stuff. But this season, 2 or 3 episodes in, and it's a pretty decent cast. But I got a feeling it's going to get even better and better as it goes on.
Okay,
Survivor's pretty cool.
And speaking of that Ravens team, if I can just heard this statistic this week. So this year's Ravens defense has given up 175 points in 5 games. That Super Bowl winning team in 2000 gave up 165 the whole year.
Whoa!
So, just a little,
Now, Roquan, he played 1 game and then got hurt. What's the story? Or 2 games and
I think
it
was the second game he got hurt.
Okay, yeah, I think so too. It seems like they're missing him big time.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, they are.
He's one of those guys that makes the other guys around them better. But they got a great roster.
Yeah,
surprising.
Anyway, I just heard that, and I was just, it was an interesting factoid.
Well, let's stay on football for a few more minutes. I'd love to get your predictions. I already told you guys that I think they're going to lose. I won't mention score or anything. I just think they're going to lose. Danikin, you're on the record as saying that they're going to win?
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to get this win. I think they're going to go in and they're going to have something to prove. Ben Johnson is going to want to make a statement. Look at what he did when he played Eberflus, right? And a lot of people kind of didn't see this, but when they played Dallas, he didn't use a timeout the entire game. That was by design, bro. That was by design. That was a middle finger to Eberflus. I'm just being honest. In my opinion, I think that is. And I think there's little things like that Ben Johnson looks for and that he finds and that he can use to motivate the team. And I think he's going to do that with this game because there's a ton that he has with this game. And a lot of people want him to pass, right? I've been seeing it in the chat too. Throw the ball often and early. Throw the ball often and early. This is what I say about that, right? I don't believe, and I don't want them to fall into the situation where you're trying to prove that you made the right decision by drafting Caleb over Jaden Daniels.
Yes,
it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, he was the consensus number 1, straight up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't care what anybody says. Hindsight's 20/20, whatever. And at the end of the day, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is go out there and win, and everything will fall into place. You don't have to throw the ball 50 times to prove that you got this shiny toy and he's better than yours. That ain't what we need to do. Just go win the game.
Great point. Great point. By the way, Steve Zim just got into the chat. He says, "Hey guys, just got here. Hope it's a great show." Zim is dealing with a very sick wife, so he said, "I'm gonna take care of my wife, and you guys have a good show." It's not the same without you, Zim. We're having a lot more fun, but aside from that, we do miss you.
Good luck, Zim.
Yeah, good luck, Zim, and Brittany, God bless you.
Get better,
please. All right, so I hear what you guys are saying. But can somebody please convince me? Because Danikin has not. I still am not. I'm still not convinced that the Bears are going to win this game.
I'm convinced now.
I'm not.
I'm back on mine. They're going to win it 54-0 now. It's like they're going to blow them out, you know?
Yeah. See, but that's the thing that I am always guilty of. I look at the game from an emotional standpoint, and which is an aspirational way to look at a game, right? We want to win this game because it makes sense from our storytelling genes, DNA, that Caleb goes back to Washington in front of the crowd that he grew up with. He evens it up. The Jaden Daniels Caleb situation becomes, a great storyline for the NFL. Blah blah blah. There's so many great storylines. But nonetheless, I'm still worried about this offensive line. I still look at what Washington has done this season. They've got a hefty passing game, and Terry McLaurin has been out for most of the season, and a little bit that he's played hasn't done anything. Noah Brown is injured and probably will not play. Sam Cosmi, their starting right guard, has not played all season, and he probably will not play Sunday. And yet these guys, they go to San Diego or Los Angeles, wherever the Chargers play now, and they beat them, and they beat them soundly. They were losing 10-0, and they score 21 points and win handily. So the Bears haven't gotten there yet. They have problems against a Raiders team that people are easily beating. I'm not convinced, guys. I'm sorry, Danikin.
Commanders beat the Ravens 41-24 in Week 3.
And they also lost to the Falcons 34-27.
Falcons the next week. A little letdown spot there, but yeah. Then they bounce back and beat the. Actually, they've won, then they've lost, then they've won, then they've lost, then they've won. So it's time for them to lose.
That's true. I noticed
there you
that.
Go. Yeah,
it's the motivation factor. That's why Bears win. Johnson knows it's important, and he has the Bears following him. Bears win because of its improved mental game. Now, there's something to that. They can mentally get their act together, which will then manifest itself in superior play on the field. I believe in that. Absolutely.
You hate for Caleb Williams to go down 0-2 to Daniels, even though they don't play on this field at the same time. It's just people will compare their Daniels won 2-0 versus Caleb Williams, like I said in Bears State of Affairs, just by the sheer fact that they were drafted 1 and 2 in 2024, forever linked. Their careers forever compared. There's a obligatory rivalry that they had no choice in. But nevertheless, against the backdrop of the drama of the NFL, they'll have to compete against each other for years. Same with Drake May and Bo Nix and J.J. McCarthy. They're all. This is, 2024 was considered one of the greatest quarterback classes, or potentially one of the greatest quarterback classes in NFL history. And so far, it's been pretty good. I mean, guys have all Michael Penix too in there, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So all of those first round quarterbacks are doing fairly well.
Oh, he's gone again.
He just leaves us
right there. No, I'm gonna. Like I said, I'll always pick him to win. I think so. But Johnson, remember, his last game at Detroit was a loss to Washington. So in the playoffs, so he's got that going too. But I did like what he said about new season, new team. He's saying all the right things. I do think they're going to be in the right mindset going into this game. Whether that plays out, after the whistle or not, I don't know. But I'm. Dan, keep talking to me because you had me going, and now I'm falling off. I'm like talking myself out of it.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know if I could. I mean, if I pick them, they lose. If I pick them to win, they lose. If I pick them to lose, they win. So I guess I got to pick them to lose if I want them to win this week.
No, I think it'll be how healthy the defense is. How well they play. If we get some players back, that could just be all we need, because we're sitting here all this gloom and doom about a great team's offense was, well, what did we do to Dallas? Dallas has the best offense, one of the best offenses in the league, held them to 14 points, right? So
Yep.
it can happen. We need some turnovers. I think you're going to have to
definitely
keep taking the ball back. But, they can get it going.
Yeah.
Definitely need
It's
turnovers.
it's just a matter of what they gave attention to detail to, man. I mean, I just believe that, coming out of a bye week, most of the time a team is going to be well prepared for what they're going to be facing, right? You had the opportunity to sit back and look at this team for 2 weeks now.
Yep.
Hone in on some of the problems that you have, that you're facing as a team. And then the morale of the locker room. That's why I felt like the game, even though I wanted them to blow the Raiders out, that's what I wanted to see happen. I still believe that game was needed because the morale was high because you won the game. But man, there was so much bad that went on in that game that you could really focus on, that you could really give attention to detail to. So I think that's what the Bears are going to do. I think until Ben Johnson proves that he's incapable of doing that, I'm going to err on the side of that's what he's going to do. And I feel like I'm going to give confidence or faith in that's what he's going to do going forward into this week. And we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. I think they this is a situation where, you speak of trap games. This can be a trap game for Washington, right? Because Washington is coming. Yeah, exactly. Right. They could be looking forward to the Cowboys because that's their hated rival, right? Their biggest rival. So they could be focused on that or whatever. And we're sitting here chomping at the bit. One thing that I didn't like that I just wish would just be quiet. I just want to see you play well, and I don't want to hear nothing about anything else. Montez Sweat and he was talking about how he felt offended when he was traded from Washington. So it's like, okay, we're feeding into the maybe revenge game for him, but I don't want to hear it right now. I just want to see. I want to see you go out there and play football. You don't have to talk it. Just let the fans talk it. We're doing enough of that talking. Fighting with Washington Commander fans up and down the Twitter timeline. So let us handle that, and you go out there and get on the gridiron and play football.
I like the bit with Johnson talking about the details of the offensive line too, and you don't even think of that. It's like we just see that, they're not running the ball well, they're not blocking. Well, what about the blocking aren't they doing well? So it's like, is it something that can just be fixed with a couple of just some fundamental issues that are going on there? It's just, to me, that's fascinating. And you don't always get that from coaches. They don't speak about the details at press conferences. And that's why I like his press conferences, because I'm learning more about the game. I don't know what's going on in the trenches. Something like that goes, so there may be a way out of this. We may go bump up to 30th and run, the next week instead of 31st.
And the answer is simple, Fitz. It's the guys have to play better. They have to improve. And we talked about that earlier. Danikin and Tooch talked about it, is that offensive line needs to build cohesion. The left hand needs to know what the right hand is doing. The left guard needs to know what the right guard is doing, kind of thing. And hopefully they get there quickly. My doubt is that it's just going to take longer. I hope that they come out of this spot and they look like the team that they should be, or that we hope them to be. But the reason I stepped away from the picture was because Tooch mentioned about that quarterback class from 2024. And at today's press conference, both Caleb and Coach Johnson were asked about it, and I wanted to share this with you. It's about a minute long.
That's pretty badass class, right? 6 QBs going within first round and first 12. Yeah, so it's a pretty good draft class. Obviously, guys are playing well, just about all the guys. So, I think it's going to turn out like a good class. Obviously, be competing versus these guys for a long time, and excited about it.
The college game's so unique that each one's a little bit different with what they put on tape. But I thought they were you just start with the throwing of the football. I thought all those guys were elite at throwing the football accurately, and that's always a good starting point because, I kind of go back to Bruce Arians back a few years ago talking about quarterbacks they need to still be able to execute on third down and in 2 minutes. I think you get all these athletes nowadays coming on out, and if you can't really picture them excelling in those two situations, I think you kind of hamstring your football team. And so in regards to that draft class, I thought all those guys were capable of winning games for you with their arm on third down in 2 minutes.
Fitz, that's what you were talking about. Is
Right.
You're learning about the game of football from our head coach, something that has not happened often in the past here.
Yeah, and it's not just. Sorry, eating the chips again. It's not.
I saw that in drinking your RC Cola.
Yeah.
I can see you.
I'm starting to come around on the pizza ones. They're a little better as I get to it. But no, it's not just Caleb that has to figure Ben Johnson's offense out, figure out who to go to, when to go to them, and all that. It's everyone on that offensive side of the ball. The offensive linemen have to learn this offense too. So it's not just one guy figuring it out. It's all 11 of them, and then their backups too. Because you hope if somebody goes down, somebody could fill in reasonably well. So it's gonna be a while. I don't think everything's gonna be solved with the bye week, but like I said, at the end of the year, I'm hoping this team looks a lot better than they do right now.
Yeah,
more consistent.
Consistency, yeah. If they can play 4 quarters, their best quarters this season, if they can play 3 or 4 quarters that way every game, then I'll be happy. That it's going to resort in wins. And sometimes we look at our team here in Chicago and we get pissed off. But man, I'm watching football games on Sunday, and I say to myself, we have to be a top 10 team. Some of the football that I'm seeing out there, I'm sorry, man. I'm just not impressed. That right now, that AFC Central Division, and I know the Ravens have been good for many, many years, but they look putrid to me. And the Steelers are probably going to win going away that division, and I'm not convinced that's a top tier 1 team. I think that they are a good team, but I don't think they have any, serious. They're going to have a serious run for the Super Bowl. Could be wrong, but that's just from what I'm seeing after 5 weeks.
That Browns defense is pretty damn good, though.
Yeah,
that's why they are scary. Not because
the offense isn't that good, but
I don't even know who their quarterback is. Do you?
Yeah. Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel.
But Stefanski hasn't announced Gabriel, and so a lot of people are speculating. Maybe Sanders is the guy this week.
It's not Joe Flacco. I know that.
That is for sure. And poor Cincinnati, they got Joe Flacco now. I don't think that Flacco has his arm yet. He doesn't throw as strongly as he did. He looked terrible in his first 3-4
He beat
games.
the Packers 2 weeks ago. Gets to face them again this Sunday. Maybe he can do it again for us. I don't know.
Okay, before we get out of here, we should spend a few minutes talking about the Packers because everyone they went to being like a Super Bowl favorite after week 1 or 2. Now, I'm not even sure they're a top 10 team in Vegas. What do you guys think about what's going on with the Packers, Fitz?
Oh, I try not to think about them sometimes. Wait till it's Packard week with the Bears, but they're well coached. You can't, all the, bad fan takes we have. I mean, LaFleur is really a good coach, and they're well coached over there, and they're always going to be a problem. I think this year, I'm sure they took the week to work on details too, because they had a bye week too. So I would expect them to come out. Who are they playing this week?
The Packers are
the Bengals.
Chiefs. The Bengals? Oh yeah,
I think they're going to destroy them. That would be my. So yeah, they're too well coached, and I hate that, but it is what it is. So
yeah, what do you think, Danikin?
Man, I look at somebody like Green Bay and I say, okay, these are teams I'm looking at them. They're in our division, of course, and we have to go up against them and so on and so forth. Teams like them in Detroit, I really look at them, even Minnesota to a certain degree. And I look at their drafts. I look at what they're doing. They're drafting guys, and they're putting these guys into their schemes, right? They're putting guys into their scheme. That's one thing that I say the Bears are doing a better job of now, right? And what I mean by that is you look at what the Bears have done. It may not be what the fans wanted, right? Maybe the fans wanted something else. Maybe they wanted this. I saw it going a different way. But he's drafting guys that fit Ben Johnson's mold, what Ben Johnson wants, right? So guys like Loveland, that's a Ben Johnson pick. Those guys are guys that he can utilize, that he needs for his team to succeed, right? So I see that. And the reason I bring it up is because we're talking about Green Bay, we're talking about some other teams, but Green Bay in specific, they drafted guys and they're building their team, they're building their roster. The same thing with Detroit. And I brought Detroit up a couple weeks ago, I think, right? And I'm just think about this, people, because a lot of Bears fans, we tend to think, go trade for this guy, go to free agency. Ryan Poles is not doing this, he's not doing that. Detroit, in a span of 3 years, had 5 first-round draft picks, 3 second-round draft picks, and 5 third-round draft picks. They built their freaking roster through the draft, bro.
Yep.
In 3 years.
And they hit on most of those picks.
And they hit on them, right? You got Penei Sewell, you got Brian Branch, Sam Laporta. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, right? So that's what we have to be patient. It took them 3 years to do that. Let's not forget, his first pick was what he picked Aiden Hutchinson. They had the second pick. So they were a terrible team, right? So,
that's right.
You know, you have a situation where the Bears, we have to stay patient. We have to understand that this is going to be a vision of Ben Johnson's team in unison with Ryan Poles, and they're going to have to work together. That marriage is there, and Caleb is involved in that marriage. It's 3 chords right there. They ain't going nowhere anytime soon, people. So lock in, understand it, and get ready for, you know, hopefully we go in the right direction. Hopefully. I'm talking it up.
So Danikin, are you saying when Ben Johnson was hired, that was a reset button and that now the 3-year period starts?
Absolutely. I think so. Yeah.
So
I don't think that
we have to forgive Poles for the first 3 years.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, and the only reason I say that is because, once again, if you move on from any of these guys, you alienate the other 2 guys, right?
Yes.
And so you're doing the same thing. We're just doing it, wash, rinse, repeat, and doing it again and again and again. Right. And at some point in time, you have to just say, okay, you 3, make it work. If it doesn't work, all 3 of you go at the same time.
And let me be clear to you and everyone else, because I tend to blame Poles a lot for the condition that the Bears are in, and I think rightfully so. He's the general manager. But when I point the finger at him, I'm also pointing it at George McCaskey. I'm also pointing it at Poles' agent, Trace Armstrong, because he could have negotiated with McCaskey certain conditions, like if he was really forced to announce Matt Eberflus as the head coach, Trace Armstrong should have talked to his client and says, "You really want this guy? I talked to him before. Do you really want him?" Although he may have been his client too. I don't know. I think they were clients.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? It's setting up your general manager to succeed is the agent's job. The owner's job is to hire the best possible person and then get the hell out of the way because, like the owner himself said, I don't know anything about football. And so, you know, I blame Poles, but I'm also blaming McCaskey. I'm also blaming the agent, and I'm sure there's other parties who have some accountability in this thing too.
I agree with that. I can't argue that at all. I mean, you have to have everybody on the same page, number one, and then if you're forced into something, that's not a situation that you really want to go walking into. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're going to get blamed. And that's the thing that, whenever there's a new GM, when a new GM comes, if Poles walked out the door tomorrow, he was fired, and a new GM comes, does that GM that comes is going to want to build his own roster through his vision? Because you know what? If I get fired, it ain't going to be because of his guys. It's going to be because I made the mistakes.
Right.
So I think I don't like when, and I've said this before about Poles, where you acquiesce to either the fan base or the media, because the fan base and the media are going to run wherever. Fans are fanatics. That's out of control most of the time, right? The media pushes their own narrative in many ways, right? So when they want to have a story, they'll I'm not going to say make one up, but they'll embellish things or push things forward, right? And that's what they do. So you can't. I don't want a GM that's easily moved either way. I want a guy that says,
I appreciate that.
This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go do it. So that's what I want Ryan Poles to do more of. Hopefully he does.
The late, great Dan Reeves, former Atlanta Falcons and Denver Broncos coach, said, I think he said it best, if you listen to the fans, you end up sitting with them. So
That's it.
And I think Danikin makes a really great point, but I do think also that a general manager can come in here and look at this roster and perhaps make better decisions about the players who are already here and how to add to them to get victories. So one of the things that I put on Ryan Poles is you look at the star players that Ryan Pace, another general manager that I had discussed for, but Ryan Pace was able to acquire some good players. Roquan Smith, I was praying for Quentin Nelson, but Roquan Smith, and I was sitting right there when they picked them, and I looked at my camera because I was recording myself. I said, I'm fine now. I didn't get Quentin, but I got Roquan. And so Poles gets here and somehow can't work out a deal with Roquan, one of the best linebackers in football. And so you're letting him go, and then you're bringing in Tremaine, and Tremaine is nowhere as good as Roquan. So there were situations like that where I thought from a player personnel, guys that were already on the team, decision-making, that Poles fumbled the ball a little bit. And maybe, and I'm not advocating for this because we're in the boat that we're into, and let's drive on. But if a new general manager came in, as you mentioned, I would hope that he can make better decisions about the guys already on the team.
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. But at the same time, when you're in a situation when you start rebuilding, you got to clean house, bro. You clean house from the old regime because you don't want any stragglers, number one, that would snake their way into some other situation. Not saying that anybody would, but that's just what happens sometimes, right? And then you also have the situation where, when a guy comes in, they start cleaning house and they start figuring out ways to do it. I go back to Detroit once again. Brad Holmes in Detroit. When he went in there, he got rid of who? He got rid of their tight end, TJ Hawkinson. He got rid of Darius Slay. He got rid of Matt Stafford. That's how he ended up getting all those draft picks in order to draft the players that he needed, that Dan Campbell needed to make things work. Now, the Bears didn't have the luxury of having some of those type of players, right? Yeah. We didn't have the luxury of having Matt Stafford and, the Rams wanting to give away the ransom, the franchise, the future for Matt Stafford, right? It worked out for them, no doubt. But it also worked out for Detroit because they got a ton of picks, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and so on and so forth. So you see where they stand now. So you have a situation where that happens. He walked into a better situation than the Bears had. And although we had some players, Roquan Smith, Khalil Mack at the end of his career, pretty much, kind of downside. Robert Quinn clearly on the downside. We just didn't have the assets that they had. So the job for Ryan Poles was a little bit more difficult. Did he make mistakes? I agree with you 100%. He did, but it was a tough. That's a tough hill to go up. You know, if you're him, because you're walking in, you don't have those assets that a team like Detroit had.
You're making good points, and I think we both are. It is kind of a weird situation in that, you know, Poles negotiates his way into having back-to-back number 1 overall draft picks. You know, and that's without having a Stafford and those other resources to acquire draft capital. So no matter how he got them, that's a coup, and that's an A+. You know, when you get 2 number 1 draft picks and then you walk away, you know, trading one to acquire that second one, and other additional things. So it's interesting. I hope that it's all settled so that we can start talking about victories as opposed to, you know, looking back and blaming stuff, because I'm terrible at this. I need wins. I need to talk about wins. Vince, help me out. Any final word on the chips? Are you still holding to the order that the pizza is maybe now moving into first place?
No, it's moving up. I'll go 305. But
305. Okay, the Giordano, how do you pronounce it?
Jardiniere.
Yeah,
these are still one. This is a 320.
320.
And the beef is a 310. So
not bad. Somebody in the chat, Danikin, wanted to know your thoughts about the Cubbies.
Man, hey, we live to fight another day. That's the way I look at it, right? We live to fight another day. Let's see if we can get another one in, you know, tomorrow, and we'll move on from there.
Do you guys think that playing at Wrigley Field is such a big advantage that they almost can't lose tomorrow because the pressure will be so much on the Brewers and that home team crowd? I only saw bits and parts of today's game, but I did hear the announcers a couple of times complimenting the crowd noise and how it might be, you know, helping the Cubs. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it does help the Cubs. I mean, everybody loves to play in Wrigley. You know what I mean? Anybody that comes and, you know, guys that when they leave, they still love it there. You know what I mean? It's a nice facility to play in because the fans are so engaged. They're always there. You know, it's packed houses all the time. They're fully engaged in the game, and they have a good time. So it's always nice to see it. I like to see playoff baseball in Wrigley as well. You know, you love to see it, man. You love to see it. The last time I was there, though, we lost because I didn't get there in 2016 when they won the World Series or anything. But the last time I was there, we lost in the playoffs, and I think it was around 2000. I think it was like 2006, maybe somewhere around there.
Oh, with the Lupinella teams?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I had gone up there at that time, and that's when I went to Green Bay for the Green Bay Chicago game. It was on a Sunday night, and you know the previous day before that game there was a Cubs game, and we were up there for that too. So it was fun.
Tell you one guy who doesn't like Wrigley Field was Ozzie Guillen. He called it a dump.
I mean,
oh my God,
he called it a dump. Yeah, he didn't like it at all.
Yeah. I've heard other things.
It used to be a dump. It's not as bad now. They've upgraded a lot of things there.
Yeah,
They still have some work to do, but man, their facilities, like the locker room and stuff. If you guys have ever seen it, it's amazing, bro.
I heard it's great. Much
it's amazing.
better. Yeah.
It's real nice.
Yeah. Before, you know, there were stories that the rats there were as big as Volkswagens and stuff. But I think all that is cleaned up now.
Yeah.
So it is nice. I'm not a Cubs fan anymore. I used to be when I was a kid, but I do hope that they win. It's good for the city, and I root more for the White Sox, but they suck, so I really don't root for anybody anymore. But I want everybody to win. As a kid, I'll tell you the truth. As a kid, I wanted to see the Cubs and the White Sox in the World Series. Why not?
Yeah.
In Chicago, you got this great thing. At least when I was growing up, you could go see a day game at Wrigley Field and certain days of the year, and then take the train and see the Sox game at night. Well, that's a great way for a young baseball fan to live. You got a team in each league. And I think a lot of Chicago sports fans lose sight of that. You don't really have to pick between one or another or be so antagonistic towards the other.
You could tell the truth, Aldo. You can tell the truth, right? White Sox fans.
Watch it now.
They hate us. They hate Chicago Cub fans, right? They don't like the Cubs fans. The White Sox are. It's funny to me because our biggest rival, of course, is you would say the Cardinals and then the Brewers. The White Sox are kind of like down on the totem pole when it comes to rivals for us, but we're somehow the White Sox biggest rival. Why is that? It's like the little brother. They're the little brother. That's what it is. They're the little brother in the city. They're tired of being stepped on, and so they act out. They run around. Blah blah blah.
I just spent the whole weekend defending myself for rooting for the Cubs. All right. I mean, I took such a beating in the TL from Sox fans, my family, for rooting for the Cubs because I hate Wisconsin so much,
And there's nothing wrong with that.
We don't all hate the Cubs.
No, not everybody. Not everybody. I'm poking fun, but not everybody.
Yeah.
That is good. I'm sort of like Fitz. Fitz, you were on a podcast talking about this, right?
Yeah, I was on Locked On Sox. It came today.
Excellent. Yeah, go ahead, plug that.
Yeah, I was going to do a shout out for him, but yeah, Todd Welter had me on and just defending what I had tweeted. It was right after the Cubs won. I just said, I can't root for anybody from Wisconsin, so I'm rooting for the Cubs.
Absolutely.
It sort of took a life of its own, and it just branched out like for 4 days. It just everybody was just in it. Like
excellent.
I sort of sat back and observed after I said my piece, and then he had me on, and a lot of it just. Being a fan is personal, and for some people, Cubs Sox is as personal as it gets.
Yeah.
For me, it's more Chicago, Illinois versus Wisconsin. That's where the personal gets with me. And and then also the White Sox had a rivalry with the Brewers when they were in the American League back in the 90s. Terry Bevington and Phil Garner got into a fight on the field. So, it's being a fan is it's something illogical and trying to make it logical in your brain.
Yeah.
And it's only to you, it's my own experiences make me cheer for who I cheer for. So
no, that's true. Your life.
I can't convince you to do it. I can't convince other people to do it. I can only convince myself. So
what about Tooch? Tooch, are you a part of any hate group?
I don't think so.
Do you hate the Sox?
I don't think.
I've always liked both teams. I never understood why, but Des Moines, we have the AAA Cubs here, so I've been seeing some of these players.
Have you gone out and watched them live?
Yeah, Pete Crow Armstrong and Shaw and Owen Casey and Miguel Amaya and Palencia. We had all those guys in Des Moines here. Ian App. So yeah, that's kind of exciting to see them in the big leagues now and stuff.
Good players, yeah. Good stuff. All right, let's go around the horn. Let's close this show out. Let us do a shout out, whatever you want to do in your last 90 seconds of Wednesday podcast life. Tooch, we'll start with you.
Well, the Bears and I are, making our Halloween pumpkins, Aldo.
I
like that.
I'll have 2 of those.
We are getting ready for Halloween around here. Wife, the girls did some, fall decorations around the house,
cool,
and stuff, outside and stuff. And then, got weekend sports betting tips on Friday, and Barfly tailgate and fantasy football. Good. It's my busiest time of the year, Aldo, football season here at Barroom. So, busy. I got to put a dollar in the mute jar.
It's there already. I put $20 in for the next couple shows. This is when college football and college basketball are your biggest money makers, aren't they?
College football's been really tough this year. I've just been doing NFL prop plays have been mostly successful for me this season. So
Cool.
I love college basketball. So I'm already starting to work on college basketball. So I'm hoping to make that my biggest money maker this year. But the NFL prop players having a lot of success with.
Nice.
Very cool. On Fantasy Football Goon, the show that you're on Sunday mornings,
yeah,
you guys should have a segment where you do like over under. Like DeAndre Swift over 55 yards on Monday Night Football against Washington.
Yeah, I've just been posting my favorite prop plays on Fantasy Football Goon. So if you're watching the show, you can get some free plays from me on Sundays.
I'll be watching on Sunday. Fitz, what do you got going on, brother?
Shout out to Todd at Locked On Sox for free speech being still allowed in the United States. And then shout out to Ditka's. We had a nice dinner with my wife Sunday.
Yeah, the famous pork chop.
Yeah, it was so good. That was delicious. But yeah, the restaurant on Chestnut closed a few years back, but the one out in Oak Brook is still going strong. It's a lovely place to go, and hopefully I'll get to another fresh video this week. Won't have any car problems, and I'll have something new for you next Wednesday.
Well, Cliff has an idea, and I don't think I started, so I apologize. But he basically wanted you to bake your own or fry your own potato chips and compare them with a popular brand.
Fry
potato. Yeah, Cliff, am I right? Can you restate that if you can? Because I don't think I started. Darn it, no, I didn't. But before we're off the air, if you could make your suggestion to Fitz about the potato chips, that'd be great. Dr. Truth wants to know, where's our sexy Tooch photo?
Yeah.
Actually, I showed it to my wife the other day. And she said, don't ever show that to anybody ever again. And I go, why? He looks nice. I go, I think that's rude. You shouldn't have done that without his permission because I know you didn't get his permission. So I was like this for like the next 2 hours. Well. Danikin, what do you got going on? I know Three Kings dropped last night, right?
No, we actually didn't drop last night. We didn't do an episode this week, but we will be back next week with a brand new episode. So next Tuesday we'll drop. Shout out to Tooch, man. Shout out to Fitz as well. Man, you held it down. You did take a lashing. You took a beating. It's similar to what I take, right? Because I'm from the South Side, right? And everybody's like, how the heck are you a Cubs fan?
I'm from the North. I grew up on the North Side. Yeah.
They hate me for that. They hate me for it, right? But it's like, hey, it is what it is. I grew up this way. My grandfather was a Cubs fan, and I got it from him. But you held on, you held it down, man. So shout out to you for that because we're fans at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we all have our opinions. It is what it is, and
it's just
you
sports.
deal with it. It's sports, man. It's fun.
The world around us is falling, burning, and it's just sports. Enjoy it.
That's it. Enjoy it. Have a good time, man. Like to see a winner in the city of Chicago at the end of the day. Hopefully that happens with the Cubs. We'll see. But shout out to my Three Kings of the Midway co-hosts. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Zim. We're missing you, man.
Yeah.
Hope the wife feels better soon. And we'll look forward to seeing from you probably next week.
Dr. Truth says he loves Aldo's wife just scolds him. Yeah, you love it. I don't. Leave me alone. I echo what Danikin just said. Shout out to this community of Bears content creators, Tooch, Fitz, Danikin, the Three Kings, Zim, everyone here at the bar room, the dozens and dozens of other podcasters who are putting out material here. So it's truly a smorgasbord of different content that's out there that you can enjoy on. It's no longer the big networks feeding stuff down your throats. You had to watch them. Now you have a choice, and hopefully we're a choice that you will at least consider. And if there are any suggestions people in the chat have for how we can improve what we do here in the bar room, we would love to hear them. I think it's pretty obvious how you can reach out to us And with that, I will close the show. Any last words, guys?
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Bear down.
That's the way to do it.